Welcome back. I don't know what I did then. I don't know how I did that the first time round, but I cocked something up and comments were turned off. But I can see now they're back on again. So anyway, what I did say, in case you missed it the first time round, I just cracked the beer open. Look at this. Refiner sent me one of these, and it did say Refiner on there a while ago. But it's worn off. Handy little bottle opener, courtesy of Refiner, our German friends. Flipping fantastic bit of kit. Anyway, how are we all doing? Have you had a good week? I've had a flipping hectic week. Craziness from the beginning to end. All I've been doing all week is monocouche render. I like to do the same day scrape, so it's been like early starts, late finishes. Absolute chaos. There we go. Evening, Kirk. Anthony, Tim Bell. Hello. Now I've got the chat. I don't know what I did before. Well, I do know what I did. Because I do everything from my phone. Just in case you're wondering why I went and come back. Because I do everything from my phone, I have to record all the footage to make YouTube videos. And then I have to upload it to an editor. And then download it back to my phone. And if I delete any of the video to create more space on my phone, I can't. It's weird the way it works. I have to have enough memory free on my phone to be able to upload and download a video before I upload it to YouTube, which ultimately means that I have to delete stuff off my phone all the time. And one of the things that takes up a load of space on my phone is YouTube. I have to clear the cache and delete all the storage off my phone, but then it deletes all my settings. So when I come back onto my flipping YouTube lives, all my settings that I have set up, it's already deleted. So I did something, I don't know what I did, I cocked something up so that my chat was turned off. So I was live, but you couldn't talk to me. It was like I was streaming a game or something. You know, if I'm a gamer, one of these YouTube gamers, it was like I was set up to stream one of those. So I had to just change a few settings. So sorry about that. You know what it's like. I'm not the most technical straight off the bat, and I was late. I've just finished work now. Well, not work. I haven't been working. What I've been doing is my missus's dad is an absolute sterling fella, proper gentleman, lovely man. In fact, my missus's dad has been like a fantastic role model for me because not knocking my dad. My dad's a lovely fella, but he's a different type of bloke. Whereas my missus's dad, old school fella, you know, bit of a tough nut. Back in the day, used to work the doors and all that sort of stuff. But a real, genuine family man. You know, he's sat around the table, all his kids, because my missus is one of 5. They'd all be having banter with him, laughing and joking. He'd be joining in, spending loads of time with his family. And he's been a great role model for me. My dad, loved the bones of him. Always got, time for me, but my dad was always in the pub. So my missus's dad has been like a role model for me, really. I love the bones of him. He's been fitting a bathroom. He rents a house out to my brother-in-law. So he rents a house out to one of his own kids. You know, it was his mum and dad's house, and they passed away, and he kept the house, and he sort of like rents it to his son. You know, he's trying to build stuff up that he can leave to his 5 kids ultimately when he goes to heaven. I'd imagine. This is his words. So he's fitting a new bathroom and he's struggling with it a little bit. So I've just been round helping him, just been doing the finishing touches with him, doing the electrics and stuff. I'm quite good with electrics. I don't know if you know, I did a City and Guilds as a spark when I was like, 16. So 16, 17 and 18 years of age. I went to college to be a spark. Don't really like telling people that, but now the cat's out of the bag, you already know. So I went and helped him do the electrics and a bit of farting round, just helping him get it finished off because it's dragged on. And he's not getting paid for it. It's in his own house. His son, my mate Sam, good thing about Sam is he's a lovely lad and he's always got your back. But fucking hell, man, he moans. He's been moaning about the mess. I mean, ungrateful shit, really. He's getting a brand new bathroom and all he's done is dragged his heels and moaned about it the whole way through. So I've just gone round and helped Dennis, my father-in-law, just help him just pop it off as fast as he can now. Last little push, it's done. So that's where I've been today. giving the old man a hand. Now, anyway, how have you guys been? Have you all had a good week? Let's see what's getting said. Evening, Kirk. Evening, folks. Anthony, 1984. Anthony must be 39. I'm going to go with. Tim Bell. Hello. Eat, sleep, plaster. Oh, don't start, Tim. Flipping heck, I'm sick of it. Michael Dix. Evening, Kirk. Hope you and the family are well. I am, mate. I'm good. Thank you very much. I had a little bit of a hiccup earlier on the week. I don't even want to go into this. I had a customer from hell. I normally fish these people out, you know. All my customers are always sterling. And by the end of the job, you know, after they've been around them for a day or two, you know, we're usually good mates. I look forward to, you know, I love going to my local pub and seeing people that I've worked for, because Ellesmere Port's not a big place, you know, and there's people sending me pints down the bar, you know, cracking job. Oh, you did me mum's house, Kurt, for being fantastic. You know, that's what I love. Oh, I did a job, and it was like last week, and finished it the beginning of this week. Nightmare, absolute nightmare. The job was okay, nothing out of the blue, you know. There's a few little issues, things that were meant to be ready for me that weren't ready. The customer had their builder take all the pebble dash off. Their builder, not being a plasterer, didn't take as much of the pebble dash off as I would have liked. You know, there was bits still on in the eaves, underneath the fascias and what have you. There was bits still on there. He didn't chop it all off the bay because he was worried, because it was a single skin. He didn't want to vibrate the plaster. You get the gist, don't you? There was a few little issues. Anyway, we overcome all that, sorted it all. I'd already give the customer the price. We had confirmed it. Everything was great. They were fantastic when I first met them. As soon as we sort of got the job underway, I don't know what happened, but they just went a bit weird. Now, I hate saying this, because whenever you tell someone that you've had a problem with the customer, everyone always thinks, because I always think the tradesman's done something wrong. The tradesman's upset them, or they've done a bad job or something. But I can honestly, hand on my heart, say we always worked at exceptionally high standards. I mean, I just enjoy what I do, so I always wanted to leave the best job possible. We're always super courteous. You know, we don't smoke on. I don't smoke anyway, but you know, none of my lads smoke outside the customers' houses. You know, we don't swear. The jobs run ship tight. You know, but for some reason, these customers just went a bit weird when we started. As soon as we got started, they just went a bit offish. You know, they were walking past us, we say hi, morning, you know, and they just blank you. I'm like, this is weird. Anyway, come the end of the job, finished. First thing in the morning, we had to go back and just clean everything up, spotless. They didn't come out to see us. Knocked on the door, no answer. You know, we'd finished all the Monocouche render. Knocked, no answer. Whatever, okay. So, my little lads, look at this. This is what I have to put up with. Can you see that at the window? Can you? That's my little baby boy. My daughter's holding him up against the window. So anyway, we finished the job first thing in the morning, spotless. Knock, no answer. I text him later on. Everything okay with the work? Yeah, fantastic. We've been out hard luck. We're made up with it. So I goes back and sees him. He goes all over the job with me again. We go over everything. You know, he checks everything with a fine tooth comb. You know, happy with the work. So great. Can we sort the payments out? And that's when it all started. This fella had decided to go. He'd gone online. He'd worked out how many bags of K-Ren per square meter. He'd worked out the cost of it, the cost of the beads, and this and that. And then he decided that he didn't like how much profit we had made. So he had done as a little spreadsheet. So this, just to put you in the picture, this guy works for like a pharmaceutical company. He does their IT, so he does spreadsheets and all this. And he'd set out a spreadsheet. He'd gone online, just worked out what tradesmen earn and stuff. And ultimately, what he'd done is he decided it was putting us on a day rate. He was putting me and my lads on a day rate. Not taking into account that we worked, till 10 o'clock at night scraping the render back because we had to wait for it to go off. We had to work in mosquitoes attacking it. Anyway, not even whinging, but yeah, he tried to dock us like, a couple of £1,000 off the price, which was so stressful for me because all I want to do is just all I want to do is a fantastic job and the customers to be made up and us to pay us. So he was happy with the price when we quoted him. He was happy with the work, but then when he had figured it all out and he had, worked out what we had earned, then he wasn't happy. I mean, I don't know why that bothers him. I don't know if maybe this fella has phoned Richard Branson and said, I'm not paying your Virgin bill because you're making profit. I don't know. But anyway, so I had a stressful start to the week, to say the least. But I hope you have had a better week than me. Now that I've got all that off my chest, I feel like this is a counselling session. Just tell you guys so I feel better now. It's been doing my flipping nutting. I mean, ultimately, I'm waiting for this fella to leave me a mean review or something. So, anyway, didn't have to go and see him. He paid me in the end. We got it sorted. Sent him the text messages, confirming. Look, you told me you were happy with the job. You told me you're happy with the price. You can't back out at the end and change your mind and say you want to put me on flipping day rate. That doesn't work like that, mate. You were happy with the price. If you weren't happy, then you could just go with someone else. I mean, the mad thing was as well, it wasn't even a dear price. We just priced him per square metre. It was just a standard rate per square metre. I think what he didn't like was we work quite efficiently. Me and my lads, when we turn up on jobs, we're like the Marines, we just flipping attack straight away. We've got a system that we work to, and it's, it works to a T. Everyone knows their own roles, so we're efficient. And I think the fact that we got his job done fairly quick, to a very high standard, but we work efficiently, he didn't like the amount of money and the time that we were spent there. Can't please everyone, can you? But ultimately, do you know the sad thing? I got paid and I still don't feel happy. It's not about the money. I feel gutted that he's not happy. I know he's at home now like, they've earned too much money, and I don't want that. I want him to be made up. I want the recommendations. I want this fella saying, look at me house, look how gorgeous this is. This is the fella, phone this number. That's what I want. I want the neighbours asking him, who did yours? Can we have their phone number? But I know he's going to be slagging me off. And that hurts. It hurts me that he's not happy. So, but what can I do? I mean, I'm not going to go around there and give him £1,000 back. I mean, the price was the price and he was happy with it. So, yeah, I don't know. You get them, don't you? You get them. It's just pissed me off a bit, But anyway, how are you guys doing anyway? You all well? Danny Arbuckle, my old mate Danny. Evening, pal. Danny Arbuckle, by the way, come and see me last weekend. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? I don't know. We drank that much beer. I can't even remember what fucking week I'm in, Danny. How you doing anyway, mate? One Life Live It. Hi, mate. Trying to learn skimming, but getting the pressure and angle of the trowel wrong. Okay, don't worry too much about the pressure and the angle of the trowel. You will just get it right. It's like if you're scraping it off the wall, you might be pressing a bit too hard. You might be giving it a bit too much edge. When you're first applying the plaster, less edge. The trowel is more flat to the wall. So imagine this is don't even know what this is. This is me kids, me daughters, flipping face masks. They come in here and put face masks on. Imagine this is the blade of the trowel and this is the wall. You don't want loads of edge. You want to keep it fairly flat when you're laying on. It's something that no one can teach you. You will just get it right. The pressure and the angle, you will just get right. It's like holding a child's hand, okay? No one has to teach you how hard to squeeze a kid's hand to stop them running out in the road. You're not going to break the bones, but you're not going to hold them that gently going to slip away. You just give it a little bit of time, a little bit of practice. Maybe mess around with a wall for a day, and you'll just get it right. It's not anything that I can sort of someone could stand behind you and show you. You'll get the feel for it the more you practice it. Matthew Turley, okay, Kirk, what size carbon do you use, and is it a Marshalltown? Currently been using a stainless steel, but fancier carbon. Yeah, I've got a carbon. Now I've used carbon and I use stainless steel, and the only reason I switch back and forth is purely just because I like to keep things interesting. When you've been plastering for a few years, you know, it gets a bit monotonous. So I like to switch back and two. Like the next trowel I probably get a stainless steel just for a bit of difference, because the gear does feel different it feels different when you're using the trowel. So I'll probably use stainless next. I've currently got a 14-inch by 4-inch trowel for specific reasons. I've used 18-inch, mate. I've had a 22-inch trowel when I was a young and dumb. I had a 22-inch trowel on site. But yeah, 14-inch. If you work efficiently, you don't need a massive trowel. You know, I'm not going out the clappers anymore anyway. My site days of trying to flip and put 150 meters on in a day have long gone. I don't want to be the fastest plasterer. I want to be the highest paid plasterer. So, and it's not about price per square meter. I just want to do a top job and go as slow as possible. But 14-inch, less pressure on the wrist. The bigger the trowel, the more pressure. Okay, so 14 inches enough. 16 inches like standard, but 14. I was getting a lot of wrist pain from the days when I was on site when I was a lunatic. But now I do private work. I take it nice and steady. 14 inches enough. And they say the bigger trowel gets it flatter, but I mean, I don't find any difference in it. My walls are lovely when they're done. 14-inch, and I use a 4-inch wide blade. Now, ultimately, that's less pressure. If you imagine the leverage, the wider the blade, the more leverage you've got to apply to put the pressure on the wall. So a thinner trowel is less pressure. Since I switched, I was using a 16-inch Nella. The trowel before this one was a 16-inch Nella, and it lost its shape. So I just quickly ordered one online and got a 14-inch by 4-inch Marshalltown trowel. Fantastic. I'll definitely get another one of those. Next time I get a trowel, I'll just literally get whatever, 14 by 4 inches is what I'll be getting. Whatever comes up first on Amazon, whether it's stainless or carbon, whatever is what I'll probably buy. This one, to be fair, is lovely and broke in now. I've had it about a year and it's starting to lose its shape a little bit. I find trowels seem to only last me about 2 or 3 years before they got out of shape. This one's slowly starting to go now, so I'll probably get another one quite soon. Right. Anthony, 1984. Yeah, 39 December, feel 69. I know the feeling, mate. I get out of bed in the morning like Frankenstein. I'm all stiff. I don't mean stiff like that even. I mean me flipping. All the wrong bits are stiff, if that makes sense. Tom McFarlane, hello. Do you do a lot of sand and cement work? Yeah, not as much as I'd like to. I love sand and cement. I'd love to see a lot more sand and cement used internally, floating walls of sand and cement, but customers always seem to want, what's fastest and cheapest, which tends to be dry lining. But be warned, don't dry line solid 9-inch walls because you'll get wick and you'll draw moisture through. And externally, the rage in my location seems to all be monocouche render. People don't call it monocouche where I'm. Everyone just asks, we want K-rend. K-rend seems to be the term that everyone wants to, we all want K-rend. So I seem to be doing tons and tons of that at the minute. But I like sand and cement. It's a nice option. Danny, bloody hell, I've only just clicked Sam's dad and Nikki's dad with the bathroom in it. Yeah, Danny's onto it, yeah. Yeah, my missus and Sam, who you met, that's my father-in-law. That's whose bathroom I've just been helping him with. Danny, yeah, he's spot on. Glenn Pritchard joining you in a beer from Dubai. Cheers. Yep, spot on. Cheers. Dubai. Are you even allowed to drink beer in Dubai? You want to be careful, mate. Talking Turkey. What age can you see yourself plastering till? I haven't really got any plans of stopping, mate. I mean, if I'm sensible with my money going forward, I mean, here's my sort of retirement plan. I'm probably going to end up with a few properties, not through anyone no one's giving me nothing, by the way. I haven't got parents and aunties and uncles with houses and stuff that are all going to filter through to me. My brother, on the other hand, he's in a different situation. His missus, I shouldn't really, probably not even best saying too much because it's not really none of my business, but our kid, my little brother, chances are, I mean, they probably won't mind me saying this, chances are the amount of properties that are going to come through to him and my missus through her side of the family, our kid's probably going to be a millionaire on paper when he's like, 50 or 60, whereas I'm not so lucky. My missus is one of 5, so my mum and dad haven't really got much that they're going to leave on to me, but I'm quite happy to make my own money. I'll probably have maybe a couple of houses, and I've got something going online. I've got a little sales and marketing coaching group, which is slowly starting to pay me a little bit more money. So ultimately, I might not have to plaster until I drop, but I actually enjoy it. I do like plastering, so I've got no plans on ever sort of stopping. Maybe, taking it to 1 or 2 days a week just to keep me hand in. I'll probably just keep going until I can't do any more. I mean, what I don't want to do is be one of them fellas that works my whole life and then stops and then dies like 2 months later. So I'll probably just keep going, to be honest with you, mate. I actually enjoy it. I like my job. I like meeting new people. I like being in different places and different situations, overcoming different problems. So I'll probably just keep going. Joe Glabus. Evening, Kirk. Quick one. Is there much difference between board finish and multi to trowel up? I've only ever used multi. Yeah, a little bit of difference. Multi is supposed to be a bit creamier, and it takes about an extra half an hour before you can finish it. Board finish seems to go off a bit faster. You can't bring it back as much. Multi, you can keep sort of wetting it and bringing it back again, bringing fat up in the plaster. Board finish doesn't seem to. It seems to go off quite quick. But saying that, I used some multi a week or 2 ago, and it was crap. It was horrible to use. The board finish is actually nicer. But I prefer board finish. I use board finish for pretty much everything. Anything I'm skimming, I'll just buy board finish all the time. It was only because the customers had this multi finish. So I'll use board finish for skimming over sand and cement, for reskims, for skimming over plaster, everything. You can use board finish for everything that you can use multi finish for, and it just sets faster. I would rather do 2 or 3 quick mixes rather than big long. I'd rather put less on and do them faster than a bigger hit, if that makes sense. So board finish, I prefer. 2 or 3 bags of board finish a set, and maybe well, I'm lying. I ain't doing 3 sets anymore. I used to do 3 sets on site, 3 mixes a day, but nah. Leave that for the kids, man. I'll just do 1 or 2 sets a day, 2 or 3 bags a set, unless it's a massive ceiling, maybe. I might have to use a few more bags. Michael Dix. I had a customer do the same thing, Kirk. I'm like, job was mint, and they worked out how much I made. They didn't want to pay, but we got there. Yeah, we get there in the end, don't we? By different means. Flipping heck, mate. There's some people that only understand one language. Ultimately, I don't know. It wasn't the thing with it was look. If I'm working for a little old dear on a state pension, I'll probably just do the job for nothing. What I like to do is I want to earn as much as possible, right? But I'm not a rip-off. But I want to charge. I'm not a cheap plasterer. I want to charge as much as I can. I want to make money. I'm in business to make loads of money. if I see that there's a need, if I come across a young lady, maybe a fella's run away and she's got little kiddies and she's just trying to make the house nice, a nice home, and she's she's in rented accommodation and they've had a leak and the landlord's putting pressure on her to get it fixed or what, these sort of things. I like the fact that I've got profit in my business. I can help these people for nothing, Loads of times I've had little jobs come along. I'm not trying to, blow my own trumpet, but if I'm working for a little old girl who's just lost a husband, there's nothing I like more than to be able to say, listen, don't worry, love, I'll sort this for you. I'll patch this up. If she's had a leak or what, a bit of damp or something, I can just sort it for you. I can send the lads there. It won't ultimately cost me a lot and I can do it for free for them. And I come away and I feel like 10 foot tall. I feel great. What I can't have is some little fella that's like a little data analyst, like deciding that he's going to rip me off, like because he's fast with a keyboard, he can figure things out, and he thinks because he knows that the law a bit better than me that he can just rip me up. I can't stand things like that. So ultimately, it comes down to them. It's not that he couldn't afford to pay it; it was just he was jealous of the amount of money I was earning. And as I always say, if he had tried harder in school, he could have been a plasterer, couldn't he? If he had knuckled down and been as smart, he could have been a plasterer and earned good money as well. So it's his own fault. Talking turkey, yeah. Didn't have to break down the payment, I know, mate. Right, Jamie Pearson. Same thing happens to me the other week. It's always playing on my mind, yeah. Flipping horrible, mate. Vince, happy Sunday from Dublin, lad. How come you didn't sand and cement it? Why the K-rend? Just what they asked for, mate. Whatever the customers want, I'll just go with what they want. I always advise them, give them different options, but ultimately I leave it to them. Alex Linnett, just because he can't afford your rates doesn't mean you both have to shop at Aldi. Yeah, true. Could have used someone else, couldn't he, mate? And you know what, mate? It wasn't he couldn't afford me. Trust me. The fella had the means. He was having all sorts of work done, mate. He was just he's just one of those, You get him, but I still, as I said to you, I still feel gutted that he's not happy. I want to leave everyone made up with the work, but can't please everyone, I suppose, can you? Anthony, almost like some people want to determine how much tradesmen earn. Price is the price. It's then up to them to determine how much profits. Yeah, I know, mate, I know. Ben Williams, I'd love to have an app or start some sort of page where we can check or vet our customers. Like check a trip. Yeah, I know, mate. Do you know what, though? I've had customers in the past that when you meet them, you think, oh, these aren't, they're dead wary. You're meeting them, and I'm like getting along with them or trying to sort of like find common ground, and they're dead cagey. And sometimes people have just been ripped off, or they've had bad work and bad experiences, and they're sort of dead edgy. So sometimes it's not the customer's fault, and I'm quite good at sort of reassuring people and helping them, and flipping heck, I've had customers in the past, something's happened in a job. I remember one lady, we were doing a job for a damp-proof job, and when we took the carpet, we said we'll take the carpets up. When we took the carpets up, the parquet flooring had all rotted in the section where she'd had a gas pipe put in, and they'd backfilled it with concrete. Now under the parquet flooring was bitumen, and that was like their damp-proof course for the floor, if that makes sense. And these guys had chopped into that and put this gas pipe in and filled it just with concrete. And what had happened was the water had rotted all the parquet flooring. So she had all this rot in the flooring. She was in tears in my arms. She was literally breaking down because she's like, I can't afford anymore. We solved the problem for her. I got a bitumen floor. They come in and did a hot bitumen floor because it can go down sort of any thickness. And we did the whole floor, I get customers that have had bad experiences or customers that genuinely are at the end of the budget, and I'll do what I can to help them. But when someone's just trying to rip me off, like when someone's just decided that they're not happy paying me, no, doesn't go down well. It's my kids that need feeding at the end of the day, mate. I'm not having someone telling me they're just going to change the price at the end. Omar, how you doing, mate? Let's see, Danny Arbuckle. I killed my carbon, gone back to 14B5 Ox now. I'm quite impressed. Very light trial. Yeah, Ox. I haven't used their stuff yet, but I'll be keen to have a go one of those soon. Araku. Araku. I'm about to embark on a level 1 course in plastering. Is that enough to start plastering for customers, or should I practice plastering on my own house first? I'll tell you what I'd do, mate, if I was in your shoes. Go and do your plastering course. Ultimately, you're not going to come out a time served spread after doing a plastering course, but it will give you a hell of a head start. What I would recommend you do is jump in with another team of plasterers. Go and do maybe some site plastering, or jump in with a team of plasterers. Now, what you probably find is most plasterers are already set up. They've already got like a team already, and they don't really need extra hands. But site plasterers, if you approach lads on site and said to them, look, you know, I want a bit of experience, I'm happy to come in and help you for free. Now, hear me out. I know what you're thinking. If you say I'm happy to come in and help you for free, most fellas won't turn that down. You'll need a CSCS card, which you can go and sort out yourself, and you'll be able to jump on site with them. Here's the thing. Most fellas aren't going to rip you off. If you go and offer to help, what someone doesn't want is, most gangs, if you're going to jump in with someone, they don't want the obligation of having to keep you and pay. You know, they've got their own families to feed, never mind yours. So they don't want the obligation that if you're a pain in the ass or lazy or useless, that they've got to flipping pay you. So if you offer to work for free and then go in there and shine, you know, show them how much of a grafter you are, then they're going to pay you. But ultimately, the best way to get into plastering is to work with another gang of plasterers. Trying to figure things out on your own is doable. There's loads of self-taught plasterers, but the process just takes longer. So to shortcut that, I would definitely recommend trying to jump in with another team. Lads that do domestic work are probably harder to jump in with. Lads that are on site are probably easier. You'll need a CSCS card. And if you offer to work for free, chances of getting a job are going to be a lot higher. And then no one's going to rip you off. No one. If someone doesn't pay you by the end of the week, then potentially jump in with a different gang, you know, if someone's taking the piss. But that's going to be the fastest route I would recommend. The amount of lads that I took on that have done that my apprentice offered to work for me. He said, because I was already set up. So the lad I've got working for me now, young Kieran, when he first messaged me, absolutely lovely lad, he messaged me about 6 times over the course of about 6 months. Every month, he's like, I want to get into plastering. I was working with another fella, an older fella, like a little team, and he kept messaging, and we were like, we don't need an apprentice, we don't need a lad, it's just someone extra to pay. Pain in the backside, you know, they get things wrong, they break stuff, they mess things up, and you've got to pay them for the privilege of it, you know. So I kept saying to him, look, go to college, go and get on the building sites. Anyway, he kept messaging me back saying, I've tried this, I'm in college, I've done what you said, Kirk. I've jumped in with other lads, I've asked to jump in with other lads, but I haven't really got anywhere. And then he messaged me and said, can I come in with you just 1 or 2 days a week so I'm not in your way? I don't even want paying. I'll just come and help you. And I messaged him back and said, that doesn't sound like something an 18-year-old lad would usually say. As your mum or your dad told you to write this. And it was his response. He said, no, me mum actually didn't want me to do plastering. She wanted me to stay in school and, you know, do me sixth form and all this. Like, she wanted me to go to college and stuff. And my dad, I haven't seen him since I was a kid. He doesn't bother with me. And I sat there and I thought, you know what? There's a flipping lad here who's asking and asking and asking for a job. He's put himself in college. His dad isn't helping him. His dad's not on the scene. What sort of a man would I be if I didn't give this lad a flipping shot? So when he sort of messaged me that, I said, lad, get yourself a pair of boots, you start on Monday. And do you know what? One of the best decisions I've ever made. He's an absolutely lovely, lovely, polite lad, Kieran, he does all the filming. So if you watch my YouTube videos, it's Kieran that films them. He's a flipping fantastic lad. So polite. I'll tell you the story about him, actually. When he first started, I said to him, be at mine for 7. Be at mine for 7 a.m. Now, I live in a court, so you come to the back of my house. You don't really come to the front. So everyone always comes the back way. About 5 to 7, I'm looking out the window. looking, you know, I've sort of got dressed. I'm looking out the window thinking he'll be here in a minute, be here in a second. So I'm looking out and I can see like down the street sort of thing, you know. I'm looking 1 minute to 7. He's not in sight. It's going to be late. It's only his like second or third day. Thought it's going to be late. Here we go. It started. Exactly 7 o'clock. The gate opened and he come in. I said to him, where'd you come from? I said, I was looking down the street, couldn't see you. He goes, oh yeah, I was early. So I waited at your gate. What a beautiful way about him, you know, just a flipping, can't fault the lad. So anyway, he doesn't wait at the gate anymore. He comes straight in my house and makes himself a cup of tea now he's settled in, you know. But what a lovely lad, you know. Can't knock him. That's the sort of person, if you're that type of person that's really reaching out and doing everything you can to impress people, then you won't struggle getting work with another plasterer. Oh, they're in there. Oh, right, give me 1 second. The missus has ordered an Indian and the delivery people have just turned up and I've got the money in here. Just give me 1 second whilst I just get some cash out my little drawer here. Flipping typical this, isn't it, whilst I'm on a live with you guys. Give us a sec. It's all happening now, isn't it? It's all happening at once. Just sort these some longer. Bear with me 1 second. Just give my missus the change, love, all right?
$42.25.
Oh, you want some more? There you go. Some more. See you later. Right, I'm back. That's flipping nuts, isn't it? I live in a madhouse. Right, sorry, where are we up to? Charles Faulkner, try put it behind you, mate. It's obvious your work is superb. Guy didn't deserve your professionalism. Thanks. Take care, love. Thank you. That's my tea in there, by the way. So we'll give it another half an hour, and I'm gonna have to go and get me dinner anyway. I think I've got a chicken tikka boona. Sunday, isn't it? Can't beat beer and Indian food on a Sunday. Right, I'll tell you what, let's blitz through these comments because there's quite a few and I'm flipping taking too long reading them, aren't I? Sorry, bear with me. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to blast through these comments fast and not waffle on too much. Matthew Turley, Kirk, have you ever fancied doing Venetian plastering? Yes, I bought all the kit to do it. Bought it from a company down south. It's basically just lime. Well, the stuff I got was basically just lime putty with some pigments, some colours to add into it to do some marble plastering, Venetian plastering, whatever you want to call it. Bought the gear, did a bit in my house, looked fantastic. I thought it looked fantastic, but ultimately, looking back, it was a bit cheesy, you know. Flipping. I live in an ex-council house, so having marble plastering on your dining room ceiling just looks a bit bizarre. But so we've skimmed over it now, and it's back to normal again. So flipping, so workmen coming around for who lives here? Flipping Michelangelo. I had all fancy. Well, I've still got all sort of fancy cornice work because I like to, you know, years ago I got into really practicing, you know, running cornice in situ and doing all sorts of different things. So yeah, probably got one of the a Victorian Victorian style council house. It's built in the 70s. Well, it's not council no more. I bought it, but we're still here. My missus actually, I said I wouldn't waffle on. My missus wants me to sell this and go and buy a nice big fancy house with land for all her horses that she seems to keep collecting. But the thing is, I'm like, why would I want to tie myself down with a massive mortgage? My mortgage is peanuts. I mean, you know, just got to live. I like to live within my means. You know, we can afford to do what we want when we feel like it. So I'd rather keep it that way. As much to her disapproval, we're staying put. Joe Glabus, Kirk, I need it to hold back. I'll stick with the multi. Cheers. Yeah, there's a product called Extra Time as well. That's fantastic stuff. If you're struggling with big sets and you want to slow it down a bit, get some Extra Time. You can use cream of tartar, like the old boys used to, but it's a bit unpredictable unless you've got a way of gauging it out and knowing exactly how much you're putting in each time. Whereas you can buy a sachet of Extra Time, and you can get them from most builders merchants, or go on Easy Mix's website. I'm not plugging the business. He is my mate, the fellow that makes it. He's a lovely fellow, Mark Shepherd. But I'm not plugging him to try and make him money. I genuinely use the stuff myself. I use the half time, not the Extra Time. This is the Extra Time, but the half time is great stuff for making things set faster. Connor Callan, totally agree. Mixing too much at one time or goes off too quickly. True. Richard Scott, in what sense does a trowel go out of shape? Like, how do you know when it's gone? Because the perma-shaped trowels come with a slight curve in them anyway, but other Marshall trowels come completely flat. Yeah, so what happens is that curve that you're on about, when you look down your trowel, the curve, if you had hold of the handle and you put the trowel against the wall, you want the center of the trowel touching the wall first and the corners slightly curved away from the wall. Okay, that's the trowel's got a lovely curve to it. It goes out of shape when you start getting curves going the opposite way. So all trowels want to be slightly curved, ever so slightly. I know the perma shapes have got a real curve to them. When the corners are touching the wall first and the center isn't, that's when you start to lose shape. Now, what happens is, over lots of use and lots of pressure, the trowel sometimes will start to go out of shape. And that's how you know. If you use it loads and you wear the trowel down, depending on how you hold it and how you use the trowel, sometimes the blade won't wear even as well. Doesn't really affect me, but my brother-in-law is a plasterer. When I look at his trowels, they're like a letter C. It's like he wears the middle of them out. It's the way he trowels up. I don't know what he does, but probably a little bit gammy-handed, but anyway, he manages to make them lose shape by wearing them out the wrong way. So if your trowel starts to go like a C shape, when you look down the blade, if it's worn out, then that's, it's time to get a new trowel. Vince, do you ever get caught out with timing, or what's the worst that has happened to you, and how did you sort it? Look, don't panic about your timing. I've had plaster go off quick in the past. Sometimes it does. You've got two options. Put your first coat on. If you can feel it's going a bit quick, then you can either second coat it with some wetter stuff. Make sure you get all the lines out your first coat. If your second coat starts pulling in too fast, which I have been caught out, over 20 plus years of plastering, sometimes things do pull in quick on you. You can either start soaking it with water as much as you can. If you haven't controlled the suction properly, then you can have an issue. It might start cracking and flaking up like little cornflakes. That's pretty much knackered. You're going to struggle to bring it back from that. But if it's just pulling in quick, you can either start soaking it with water, or get it nice and flat, let it pick up a little bit, let it go nice and firm, because as plaster sets, it will also seal the background a bit. So let it pull in a little bit, let it go really firm, so when you touch it, you can't leave, it won't stick to your fingers. And then give it a really second, third coat. Now, this isn't good practice, but it might save your life if it's really going off. You can just give it another coat of plaster, So it's not like the end of the world. Don't just give up. I've never lost a set. It's gone off and it's ruined, and I've had to scrape it off and do it again, or I've had to PVA it or SBR it and do it again. I've always managed to, you got to have this mindset: never ever give in, ever. Even when it comes to customers not paying you, never ever ever give in. Yeah, another coat or plenty of water, and you'll get there with it. Life of John. Left you a message the other day regarding the sealant. Got a guy doing it now. I'm making good some bits on the wall, probably hardwall bonding, then multi-finish. Do I trowel first coat back sub flush, or does it shrink back? Right, John, I remember you phoning me. I was in bed, wasn't I? I had my little baby boy next to me, so I remember whispering to you on the phone. Sorry I haven't been back to you, John. I've been inundated. I've been working late hours and all sorts, mate. So I do apologise for not getting straight back to you. I'm glad you're sorted. I'm making good some bits on the wall, probably hard wall or bonding. Okay, so hard wall is for high suction backgrounds, bonding's for low suction backgrounds. So if the wall's been sealed with PVA or SBR, or it's plasterboard, then bonding's your stuff. If it's bare brick, it's a high suction background, then you want to use hard wall. If it's a solid 9-inch wall and there's no cavity, then you don't want to use either of those because they're gypsum based. You want to use sand and cement with a waterproof additive, or lime plaster, or do something to stop penetrating moisture. Okay, then multi-finish. Yeah, multi's fine. Don't worry about board finish. Multi will give you more time, so it's probably better to use multi. Do I trowel the first coat back sub-flush, or does it shrink back? I see, yeah, I see what you're saying. No, fill the wall out flush with your base coat plaster. Don't leave space for the finish. The finish can feather into nothing, so you don't really need to worry about leaving a gap for the finish. It'll feather in. You want to blend out further than what the patch is. So I know what you're saying now. Make sure that you seal the wall past where you're going to feather in. So if I did a patch that big, if that much was back to the brick, I would fill that out flush with my base coat plaster, flush with the wall, be it sand and cement, bonding or hardwood. I'd fill it out flush with the plaster, rule it off, yeah? Then I would seal an area this big and skim an area that big, okay? You can't feather out plaster onto no sealer because it'll fall off. So you need to seal more, skim that big, and the patch started that big, okay? Hope that makes sense. Sorry about that. I should have a whiteboard here. I've got a whiteboard over here. I should really have that set up, shouldn't I? So I can do diagrams and stuff, but I'm not that smart. Thinking I'm a flipping school teacher or something. Neil Muir, I think it is, yeah. With regards to helping folk, I would like to do the same for people in need of a bit of a leg up in life. Fair play to you for all that. Yeah, spot on, Neil. It's good to be a good it's good to be a good human, isn't it? Connor, Cullen, those academic snobs wouldn't know what work is. Kirk, this might be a stupid question. Do you know? Sorry, Keith. Keith, Kirk, this might be a stupid question. Do you know why bonding coat is pink and then you get some that's grey? Yeah, depends what it's made. There's I think British Gypsum have got a couple of different factories, and it's basically like car-like finish. Used to be grey as well. It's just basically so there's gypsum in there. Gypsum's pure white, and then they put I think the term is exfoliated polystyrene or something over. That's like the little crumbs, the little lightweight crumbs. It's the aggregate, and then there's other bulkers and stuff in the plaster, and depending on whereabouts in the country they are mining, depends on which colour you get. Some will be grey, some will be pink. Doesn't really make a difference. You can mix them together. You can, well, I do. Some fellas might go, no, you can't, but I do, and it's fine. So doesn't really matter. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes you get a pallet. I'll get a pallet of pink stuff, and then the next time I go to the builder's yard, I'll get a pallet and it'll be grey. So doesn't matter. Doesn't make a difference ultimately. I actually think that the grey stuff is slightly nicer to use. The pink stuff seems a little bit stickier, sticks to your trowel, but just my opinion. Glyn Pritchard. Colin Cunnan is a joiner by trade, but civil engineer by profession. I'm academic and I know what work is. We aren't all the same. No, true. Sorry, we shouldn't generalise people. I know some fellas that are office workers and are flipping absolutely rock solid grafters. You know, they've jumped on their own jobs and stuff. It's probably naughty of me to generalise, so I do apologise. Eddie S. Hi Kurt, loving the videos, mate. Got a question. When would you use lime instead of sand and cement with waterproof on a 9-inch solid external wall? Cheers. So, most houses with a 9-inch wall would have originally been lime plastered. Okay, if there's no cavity, then you can get penetrating moisture when it's pissing down outside and the wall gets soaked. If there's no cavity, then moisture can draw through to the internal. Lime plaster is breathable, so they would have lime plastered it and then, you know, breathable paint, lime wash paint, whatever, and the wall would have just breathed. You didn't ever have damp problems with lime plaster. There was no such thing as rising damp and penetrating damp and mold with lime plaster. Now, when you've got a solid 9-inch wall, that probably would have been lime plaster originally, and it's nice to use the same material. If you're repairing a house or working on a house of that date, it's nice to use the materials that the house was originally designed to have used. But it also comes down to cost. Lime plastering takes longer, and the materials are more expensive. Depending on the customer, I always like to offer it. A lot of customers will say, yeah, great, let's have it like for like, let's have it how it originally should have been. But some people don't, they're not interested in that. They just want it fast, cheap as possible, whatever. So it's good to offer people the situation, depending on the situation, it's good to be able to offer that service. Lime plastering, by the way, isn't a mysterious art. It's not like a secret flipping tricky sort of field of plastering. It's well explained, it's well documented. If you got any, you can just buy plastering books, so all about the different ratios to mix it, the difference between hydrated lime and hydraulic lime. Ultimately, hydraulic lime sets, hydrated lime doesn't, it dries out by carbonation. Some fellas used to put a little bit of gypsum plaster, which is basically like plaster of Paris. They would put that in the lime plaster, and then it'd be called setting stuff. They would gauge it with a bit of gypsum. They would gauge the plaster with a bit of gypsum, like a handful of it, and that would be called gauged setting stuff. And that way you could get the plastering done faster. So when you're doing the finishing coat with lime, you put it all on, you could finish it the next day. Whereas if it was gauged, you'd finish it the same day. So then you start getting the term, I'm doing a gauge of plastering, because it was gauged stuff. So you can see where the terms come from, can't you? Mr. Doan GD2, do you get paid enough, and do you still use Magnum 44? No, I'm happy with what I get paid. No violence needed, no violence necessary. Daniel McEwen, have you ever tried laying on using your left hand? Yes. Yeah, because quite a few times I've had a broken right hand. So I've had to have a go with the left hand from time to time in awkward places and stuff. Yeah, it feels absolutely bizarre laying on with the opposite hand. If I was thinking about doing a video actually with the opposite hand, just to sort of do like a video for beginners, to sort of say, look, I know how you feel. This is exactly how it'd be for a beginner. Sorry, let me just. This flipping thing that I've got my phone set on is spinning round. Getting seasickness watching it. Let's put that there. So there you go. The beer's coming handy to support the phone. Oh, for fuck's... Why do things happen to me? Live. Everything goes to plan all the time, apart from when I go live. Oh, I'm flipping itchy as well. In case you're looking at me scratching, I've been in a loft with fiberglass, putting flipping cables through for a bathroom ceiling, so I'm flipping covered in fiberglass. What's a good way to get more jobs in? Freddie Nickel, what's a good way to get more jobs in? Good way to get more jobs in. Ultimately, Freddie, what you got to understand is there's thousands of tradesmen. You've got to think, why would a person pick you specifically as the tradesperson that they want in their home? What makes you different from everybody else? Understand this. People buy from people. When it comes to the customer, the quality of your work is important, yes, but 50% of what is important as well is what are you like as a person. If the lady of the house doesn't like you, it doesn't matter how good you are at whatever trade you're in. If the lady of the house does not like you, or doesn't trust you, or doesn't know enough about you, or likes somebody else more than you, then you won't get the job. So you've got to be the most likable person, ultimately, good salesman. But I can help you more with that. If you go through one of my videos, you'll find a little link. I've got a sales and marketing accelerator course. You jump on that and I'll show you all how to use social media. I'll show you how to get yourself to the top of Google, salesmanship, how to add value. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. There's my food been delivered. I can't even eat this whilst... I'm not going to sit here and eat whilst I'm talking to you, but look at that. Love you. Nice big curry. I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you, babe. My 11-year-old daughter bringing me my curry in. But anyway, I'm gonna chat to you guys. I'm not gonna start chomping whilst I'm chatting. Ryan died rubbish day. Cars wrote off by someone on a dirt bike, so can't get to my job now. Had enough. Ryan, I know what it's like, mate. Tell you what I always do, Ryan, because I've been there many a times when my van's going in the garage and stuff, mate. Save up a few quid, mate, for the future. put about £1,000 away, keep it in your sock drawer, and then whenever your van goes in to get fixed or it gets wrote off by an idiot on a motorbike or anything else, you've got £1,000 put aside. Go and buy yourself a little dinger, a little run around to see you through the shortfall. You know, I've always got a little bit of spare cash. So if my van's off the road for any reason, I can go and buy a little cheap run around for the time being, keep working until my van's fixed, and then hopefully try and sell the little cheap run around for a little bit more than you bought it for, just as a little game with yourself. You know, don't let it get down. Right, don't let it get you down, mate. It's only work, it's only money. We can always get more work, we can always get more money, mate. So don't get yourself down about it. Danny Arbuckle, I'll bring it up with me, mate, next time. I hope you can break it in for me. The trowel. I'm miles behind in the comments here. I need to start getting through these comments a bit faster. Nick Catton, hi, what's the average pay per day for a plasterer? Average, I'd say about, I don't know. There's plasterers around me anywhere from £200 to £400 a day. But you can earn a lot more than that, mate. I don't know. There's plasterers out there earning £100 a day. There's plasterers that are averaging £200 a day. Some that on £250. I know loads that charge £300 a day, and I know loads that earn a lot more than that, mate. So it's I don't know. It's up and down. I don't think there's a flipping set rate, mate. I think a lot of plasterers just make it up as they go along. So ultimately, it comes down to you. Whatever you think you're worth, and if you're convinced of what you're worth, then you should be getting paid it. So this is for London. Sorry, I'm from Cyprus. I don't know, down south, mate. £300 or £400 a day, I'd imagine, would be about average. You don't really want people working on day work for you, though. So if you're looking at having work done, you don't want to be on day work. You don't want to work on day work either. Look, day work is a trap. Day work is shit, because if you're a plasterer working on day work, you've got a customer looking what time you're turning up, looking how long you're eating your dinner for, looking what time you're going home. You know, they think they own you. So you don't ever want to be on day work. You want to be on price. That way, if you get the job done faster, you can earn more money. So it's good for the plasterer because you're not getting scrutinised. It's good for the customer to be on price because they know what they've got to pay you at the end of the job. They know where they stand. So the customer's confident. You know, if you said £1,000 for the job, all they have to think about is, I owe £1,000. If the job takes a week or 2 weeks, that's the price. So price is always best. I don't work on day work. I work my prices out myself. You know, I'll plan the job. It's going to take 4 days, X amount a day, profit, materials. That's the price. So I'll work it out as day work, but ultimately I won't tell the customer I want X amount per day. Mark Calvert, can you dab over grey plastered walls? Yes, just seal them first, mate. Use blue grit or something, or SBR or PVA, just in case there's any paint. Arku, brilliant, thanks for that. I'll certainly do that. Rolling tomorrow. Glim Pritchard, hit the like button. Yeah, cheers, Glim. Robert Webb, Kirk, I see you've done a few videos on one coat render. Do you use thin coat TC15? Yeah. Yes. You're saying TC15. I think that's K-Ren's thin coat render that they supply. I've used Baumit, Johnstones, flipping heck, loads of different brands. There's loads of different types of thin coat. They're pretty much all the same. It's basically paint with an aggregate in it. That's the reps telling you that as well. That's what the reps have basically told me. It's paint with an aggregate in it that's applied by trowel and then rubbed up with a float. Jorex Jim, hidden stash, you're screwed now. No, don't worry, mate. My missus and kids know where my little stash of money is. This is my little office, isn't it? So I have a little business floating here. So that, you know, I can afford materials and stuff to keep jobs going. And buy Indian food as well, apparently. Glim Pritchard, what's the story with the trump plate? So the story is, mate, my young apprentice, I wish that when I was his age, I travelled the world before life got hold of me by the balls. You know, you sort of like, you know, you're young, free and single, and the next minute you wake up married, kids, mortgage, bills, and all this, and you're sort of traveling that you had planned sort of has to go on hold because you've got you can't take your kids to India and stuff for 6 months. Well, you probably could, but I'm not prepared to. So when young Kieran started with me, I said to him, listen, mate, you're young now, you've got nothing tying you down. Go and see the world. Go and see the world, mate. You'll appreciate it. So he did, and he does, and he goes to Europe. Now he's laid off it for a little while because he's got a girlfriend now. But before he had his girlfriend, he used to go to a different country, different place in Europe once a month. He'd go for a long weekend. And I've always said to him, doesn't matter how long you're gone for, if you enjoy it, if you like it there and you want to go somewhere else or stay there in that country, then just do it. You'll always have a job with me when you come back. I'm okay by me. In fact, it's good for me to be on my own sometimes because I get a bit lazy having someone like a little Joey doing everything for me, you know, packing up, cleaning up and all that. Sometimes it's good for me for me to be by myself and have to struggle a little bit and get back into the swing of doing everything. So young Kieran goes off. He goes traveling all around Europe. He meets these fellas. One of them's an American fella. Kieran goes off to New York. Hence, he gets me these little plates. I've got loads of these little plates all around my workshop. You can see them. Amsterdam, Prague. There's tons of them all over the place that he gets me. Now, I love Donald Trump, by the way. I like him. I just like the way he is. I like the fact that he's a no bullshit kind of guy. You know, he says what's on his mind, and I like that. So, I like Donald Trump. He got me a Trump plate. That's the story with that. Oracle, would level 2 be worth it or just level 1, then work with the other plasterers? The more qualifications you get, mate, more strings to your bow. Here's the thing with plastering. Let me just tell you about plastering. So just to put this into your mind, I come from a family of plasterers. My old fella taught me to plaster, and I worked with some of the fellas that my dad taught as well. I've worked with ultimately loads of different plasterers over the years. I've studied plastering. I love it. You know, I've bought books on plastering and educated. I had a foundation from working with my dad. I plastered from when I started high school, basically. I never went to college to be a plasterer. Okay, so I've never turned up at a customer's house and been asking me qualifications to be a plasterer. So all I'm saying to you is the more education you can get is going to better you, but it's not really even necessary. If someone can teach you to plaster and you can do the job, then that's all you need. Now, that being said, I did get on-site assessed because I was on the building sites before CSCS cards were a thing. And when they come out, the company I was working for, Dave Waring, by the way, RWW Plastering Contractors from Haydock, absolutely lovely man. If anyone knows Dave Waring, he's a gentleman. He's a fantastic fella. I've got nothing but been good words to say about Dave. Pain in the ass to get hold of, doesn't like answering his phone, but he's a great fella. He paid for me to be on-site assessed. So a fella come out and I got an MVQ in plastering. They just assessed me work, asked me a load of questions. Basically, you couldn't fail it. You know, I couldn't get it wrong if I wanted to. So I've got an MVQ in plastering, but never used it, never needed it. So just putting that out there for you, you know. Don't want anyone thinking I'm a fraud. But I haven't got a City and Guilds in plastering. I've actually got a City and Guilds as an electrician, believe it or not, because I didn't want to work with my dad when I was a kid. I wanted to be a spark, so I actually went to college to be a spark. Long story for another time. Jimmy's Building Services. Hi everyone, a bit late to the party. I had to pick up my daughter. Nice to see you, Jimmy. Cruz Logan. Hello, Freddie Nickel. What a good way to get working. Just started out about 2 months ago and haven't done a single job. Let people know you're a plasterer, Freddie. You know, have you got social media? Do people know that you're a plasterer? Let people know that you're a plasterer, basically. I've got a course, mate, teaching how to generate leads from social media and Google. But ultimately, there's nothing stopping you. I mean, if you don't have to join my course, nothing stopping you reaching out, phoning builders, let them know you're available for work, mate. Let people know is the first step. Everything I recommend in my course is completely free. Doesn't cost you a penny to do it, but there's nothing stopping you taking the paid route. Years ago, when I was trying to find work, I got flyers printed off. I put adverts in the newspaper. You know, I don't recommend this. There's other ways of doing it now, completely free, that bring in loads and loads of leads. But you know, if you're new to the game and you don't want to start out paying me on my little course, my £1 a day course, and you want to do it yourself, then you can pay to have flyers printed off and go and post them. I mean, my missus used to come with me when I come off the sites in 2008 when all the building sites shut in the recession, and I went and got flyers printed and went round, me and the missus, posting flyers through letterboxes back in the day. I mean, since then, I've tried all different sorts of advertising and marketing, and I've now got a nice little system that doesn't, like as I say, doesn't cost a penny. It's very easy for anybody to do. And if you want to jump in my course, mate, then drop me a message and I'll get you in there. Anyway, I'm not trying to pitch you. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just putting it out there. Richie Senior, is that Indian better than steak from the Kingfisher? Well, I can smell it, mate. Flipping smells gorgeous. I reckon it is. But I'll be tucking into it in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna blitz through these comments now, and it's sat here. Look, I can smell it. But there's nothing worse than someone talking whilst they're eating, so I'm not even gonna dare take a mouthful whilst you boys are watching. Connor Cullen, there's a lot more to Venetian than marble effect. I do it for a living. Yeah, Connor, fair play to you, mate. There's low. I'll tell you the reason I haven't really got into it big time is because I never get asked for it. I know there's a lot more to it, mate. Marble plastering was just something I had a little dabble at. If there was a call for it in my locality, I'd do more of it. There's a bigger calling for it, I believe, down south than where I am, and possibly abroad. So, you know, you got to sort of cater to what people are asking you for, and I just don't get asked for it. So, but yeah, sorry, mate, it wasn't knocking your skills there like at all. Logan Louis, I got some shitty damp work to do tomorrow. I think I could use KI7 base coat for the inside brickwork, or bad idea. I don't know what KI7 base coat is, mate. Sorry. I don't even know who makes that, so I've not come across it myself. I always use sand and cement with waterproofer, or I have been known to use the damp-proof membrane in the past, which is like a plastic membrane that you fix to the wall. If you're going to use the membrane, little tip for you, put some base coat plaster with accelerator on it, so that, because it flaps around when you're trying to stick adhesive to it, or when you're trying to put base coat to it, it flaps around. So put one layer of base coat on it with an accelerator, so it sets and it stays firm, and then work forward going from that with the membrane. Danny Arbuckle, give me a shout when you can, mate. I do know how busy you are and all. We'll all sort out my next visit, ideally before my op next month. Yeah, Danny, it'd be a pleasure to have you back again, mate. Andrew Barraclough, question about trowels. Do most plasterers have a few that are worn in? I don't do a lot of plastering, so I only have one, but starting to think I need another just in case. What are your thoughts? I'll be honest with you, for me, Andrew, I've probably got about 10 trowels in my van, all broken in, because I'll just buy new ones, and as they start to lose shape, they're still usable, I'll just buy another one. The amount of trowels I've given away, worn-in trowels that I've just give out to other plasterers over the years, I flipping lost count. But yeah, I'm like a kid in a toy shop. I'll buy new trowels all the time. And what I'm finding is now, with my YouTube and stuff, people seem to send me stuff. I keep getting little gifts, sort of like promotional flipping gifts sent to me. So my little trowel collection's getting bigger and bigger. Roy Wellington, what about putting PVA in the plaster to give you extra time? No. Don't put PVA in your plaster, mate. That will not go down. It won't work out nice, trust me. PVA, yeah, it won't trowel up nice, mate. It might be different with sand and cement or something, but I definitely wouldn't put it in finishing plaster. I've never actually put it in sand and cement either, just to clear that up, but I wouldn't recommend it. I know if you look on the back of the tub, it recommends putting it into some sand and cement for filling cracks and stuff. I've never done that, but the tub says it's doable, but I wouldn't put it in finishing plaster, definitely not. Jason Lynock. Hi, Kirk. I hope you're okay, mate. I'm 37 years old. I've started off as a plasterer's mate with somebody like you when I was Kieran's age, and he was just like you are. Top bloke. Don't ever change. Cheers, mate. Kieran might disagree with you. Kieran probably tell you I'm not that good because I moan at him. When I'm not on camera, he does get moaned at a bit. But cheers, mate. Thank you. Loxy Walker. Hiya, Kirk. Have you got a video doing a first wear on a new trowel? Yes, Lexi, I have. Go to my video section on my YouTube channel. Just click on videos. Go in order of oldest and newest. Go right to the very beginning. One of the very first videos I did was how I started to wear in my new trowel. And I've also done another video. Look at this. There's my little son. Can you see him in the window? He's going to be 1 next week. You okay, son? My don't worry, my missus has got hold of him. He stood on the chair. He stood on the chair tapping on my window. Little sweetheart. Yeah, I've also done another video on breaking in a brand new trowel. They're in my videos though. Just go and have a look at my videos, you'll find them. Roy Wellington, does PVA give you extra time? I don't think it does, mate, no. Cream of tartar will do, and extra time. Sachets will give you extra time. The Foreman 79, how would you go over painted sand and cement render? Ideally, mate, I wouldn't want to, if you're talking about externally, ideally, I wouldn't want to go over painted render because you're putting a lot of weight just hanging on paint. You know, your work is only as good as the bond of that paint stuck to the original render. But I understand in the real world, some situations you can't get out of it. Something might need to be blended in or whatever. There is products called Rend-Aid and Exterior Pre-Grit, which are like bonding agents for... Sorry, I'm flipping covered in fiberglass. There are bonding agents specifically for going over paint. But again, it's not ideal. In fact, there's another product, VPI. I've got a base coat. Okay, so VPI, Victor Papa India. I've got a base coat that will go directly over paint. But again, just take in mind, you can guarantee it'll stick to the paint, but you can't guarantee that the paint will stay stuck to what it's painted onto. So just, you know, if there's any flaky paint, it might be a bit of a risk. Logan Lewis, who's on the emojis? Life of John, great answer, thanks. P.S. I didn't phone you. Was a message on YouTube saying I was doing sealing myself. I'm not now. Bloke doing it. I'm gonna make good some wall bits. It's on concrete blocks, internal. Okay, hard wall. Sorry, John. I thought you were someone else, mate. Roy Wellington. Text messages, sorry. Customers still message me if they've been 20 past 9. Does putting PV Shanty, Ontario. What's your age? Not telling you. Life of John. I'm 37. I know I look old and I've had a hard life. Life of John. Being good. Now go and enjoy your boona. I'm going to, mate. Shanty John. What's your mother's name? Are you trying to get all my information so you can do some flipping online fraud, Shanty Ontario? My mother's name, mate, in case you're trying to figure out if you know me or not. My mother's name's Paula. Andy, Oggy. How you doing, Andy? Paul Connigan, my lad doesn't bring me curry. RC being told artex ceiling need boarding over to stop the ceilings cracking when people walk on the floor above. Bullshit or genuine? Ceilings are solid. No, you do not have to overboard artex ceilings. As long, the main reason for overboarding an artex ceiling is if it's on lime wash paint. If the artex is well adhered, then you can skim over them. Look, here's what I would do with most ceilings. If there's a layer of lime wash paint and the artex just falls off, if the artex is coming down really easy, then you don't want to add weight to it and it'll pull off. So in that situation, yes, overboard the ceiling. If the artex is good and sound and solid to the ceiling above, then potentially just do this. Rescrew the ceiling. Rescrew the plasterboard so that the ceiling is nice and solid back to the joists. Scrim any cracks. Seal it with SBR and skim it. It'd be fine. Matthew Turley, have you tried the bags of one coat render Weber instead of buying bags of sand and cement? Yes, one coat render, OCR for sure. One coat render is lovely to use. It's fantastic. It's like using very similar to K-Ren base coat, you know, goes on lovely, rubs up lovely. The problem with it is it's expensive. It's about £15 a bag. So you're sort of talking like, you know, £500 to do a wall, as opposed to using sand and cement, which would be like, you know, 60 quid. So that's the problem with it. Danny Livins, I'm a solid plasterer and I'm currently teamed up with a Fibrous plasterer working in Houses of Parliament, taking lath ceilings down. Should I ask for the same rate as him as we are doing the same job? Yeah, flipping that, mate, of course. You want as much as possible. Johnny H. Highkirk trying to get old walls flat, skimming using multi with speed skims both ways on each coat. Walls have hollows when you put a large straight edge on. After any tips, cheers. What you could do is, if the walls are really bad, seal them, give them a coat of bonding and put the straight edge on and rule off. See how you're ruling off with the speed skim? Do the same thing with a feather edge onto bonding. So put the bonding on, seal the wall, put your bonding on, do the same thing with a feather edge as you're doing the speed skim, rule it both ways. Once that's set but not dried out, don't leave it dry. Do it first thing in the morning, put it on, it'll dry out it'll set after a couple of hours, but don't let it dry out. You can skim. Bonding's designed to be skimmed straight over. Skim it and then carry on with your process that you're using. If you happen to do the bonding and can't skim it straight away, you'll then have to seal the bonding, because the bonding will become a high suction background once it's dried out, so you'll have to seal it then to skim it. But otherwise, you can skim it the same day with no sealer onto the bonding. Hope that makes sense. Hope I haven't complicated things, but ultimately your speed skims are flexible, so they're not going to get it dead flat, whereas a feather edge rule will, because it's not flexible. RC, how much bonding do you add to your skim when skimming a ceiling? I don't add anything to me finish when I'm skimming a ceiling, mate. Some fellas do what they call a magic mix, or what, they've got all different names for it, and they'll mix half and half, bonding and finish for the first coat to build out over the artex. I don't use anything, mate. I just skim over it with finish. So you don't have to, is what I'm trying to say. If you wanted to, you can add quarter bonding to a full bag of finish, or you can add half and half. But ultimately, make sure that your last coat of finish has got no bonding in it, because it won't trowel up very nice. You want to put the second coat on, just neat plaster. Life of John, down south, 3x5 ceiling over stipple equates to around 3 to 330. One guy doing it after another job, 200. Yeah. Freddie Nickel, how did you save up for your first van? I was working for my dad, mate. Working for my dad at the time. So I just saved up from being an apprentice. I've never actually drove a car myself. I've bought cars. My missus and daughters, I've bought them cars. I've always had a work van. I've always been driving around in vans. Doesn't matter how fancy my clothes are, I've always got a dusty white arse. Elis Nines, what depth beads do you use for your monocouche renders? Depends. If it's over new work, if the walls are new, then I'll use 10mm beads. K-Ren like you to use 15mm beads because they want to sell more product, because the stuff's going to go on thicker. If I'm going over old work and the walls are a bit all over the place, then like an old building, then I'll use 15mm beads, just because I don't want to scrape through to the base coat. But I'll try and use 10 as much as possible, just because you don't have to buy as much product. Freddie Nickel, you all right, Kirk? You seem to be wondering if everyone else is fine and helping other people, and none of us have asked if you're all right. Freddie, thank you, mate. I'm fine, mate. I'm good. I actually get more pleasure out of giving than what I do receiving, mate. So I'm happy helping people. Me helping people, mate, helps me. So I'm good, mate. Appreciate you asking them. Ronnie Barker, hello, Captain. How's tricks, buddy? Yeah, Ronnie, been a while, mate. Been a while. Loads of new people on the live tonight. There's little bit of a TikTok following jumped over, so there's a load of new guys on. Danny Arbuckle, MVQ level 3 is the easiest thing I ever did. City and Guilds was hardest, and that was only the basics. Fair play, mate. CY McGubbin. Right, do us a favour, guys. I'm starving, right, and I want to jump off this slide, but I'm going to answer all these questions. No more questions tonight. I'll answer more questions next Sunday. I'm going to answer all these questions. I'm going to blitz through these because I don't want to leave anyone out. And I'm going because I'm flipping want to get tucked into this. I want to sink a few more of these. So do us a favour, don't add any more questions in the comments now. Let me just answer all these ones that are here. CY McCubbin. Hi, mate. Just bought my first house and been stripping really old wallpaper. In some areas there's paint, some areas plaster. What would be the best way to get a nice finish on these? Okay, so if you're skimming over them, mate, then just skim it. If you're going to skim over it and you're wondering how to go about sealing the walls ready for plaster, just SBR everything. Give it a good coat of SBR, let it go off, give it, 6 or 7 hours to seal it completely, and then you get an even suction for your plaster. If you're talking about just literally how can you get the walls tidy, maybe a bit of easy fill and sand it down if you don't want to plaster the walls. Lexi Walker, thanks for that, Kurt. Love your work. Appreciate it, Lexi. Thank you. Ashley Horan. Yo, Ashley, how are you, mate? You haven't texted me in a while. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Kimmy Dessou, can you sing? No, I wish I could, mate. I wish I could play it. My little brother's very musical. My little brother's got a fantastic singing voice, and he's very musical as well. He's great on the guitar. He can play the piano. I was not gifted. He's gifted in a few ways, my brother, but I've drawn the short straw. Omar, going over painted rendering in the past, I've gone over it with a grinder and diamond blade, mark it up, scud coat it, scratch coat, first coat, no problem, just wash the dust off before you scud. Yeah, good shout, Omar. Ronnie and Jimmy are talking to each other, so we'll just skip past their comments because I'm starving. RC, thanks for answering, Kurt. Keep wearing your seatbelt, La. Yes. I knew someone would spot that. Cheers, mate. Ian, found you by chance. You provided good tips. Thanks. Yeah, pleasure, mate. Pleasure. Brett, CTKS ambassador. Thanks, Kirk. You're awesome. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Tupilo Twin. That curry's cold now. I'm not bothered, mate. I'll eat it cold. I'm a flipping animal. Jimmy's Building Services. Last one. What's that shirt you was wearing last Sunday? Ain't that from Australia, the Render Centre? No, FS Trade had FS on the front, which people were saying was fat shit. And it said the Render Centre on the back is in the last video. No, FS Trade, listen, FS Trade are probably the best render suppliers I've ever come across. They're a company based in Liverpool. I don't know where they're up to with delivering nationwide, but they do deliver locally to me. I'm Ellesmere Port there, Liverpool. They call us Woolybacks, by the way. For anyone that thinks I'm a Scouser, Scousers don't actually. There's like a rivalry between us and Scousers. They don't actually. There's no rivalry on my part, but Scousers call us in Ellesmere Port Woolybacks. So, but these guys are over in Liverpool. Absolutely fantastic. There's a load of render supplies that I like, by the way. Direct building supplies. There's flipping Phil Gill. There's Galaxy Installation. All great guys. FS Trade, I've found they stock every colour of K-Rend. They stock it, which is ace, because loads of places have to order it in. I can literally just drive over to FS Trade. It takes me about 40 minutes. Go over the new Runcorn Bridge, which I always forget to pay the toll and get a £25 fine. But anyway, yeah, FS Trade, the Render Centre. I don't know why there's two names, but it's the same place. Dead helpful. All the staff know the stuff. They've got loads of different products, and they stock in stock pretty much everything. So they're fantastic. I like them. I've only recently found them the last couple of maybe 2 months, but I like using them. Anthony, get that curry, mate. I'm going to, mate. I'm going to. Ronnie Barker, SBR, have a t-shirt out for captain. Yeah, I tell you what, mate. I reckon I've increased their sales quite a bit. Okay, I can't read your name, mate. I'm not sure if that looks Russian, maybe. But hello. Appreciate you saying hello, mate. Omar, good night. Enjoy your curry. Cheers, Omar. Richton Northwich. Top, you and the family. Enjoy your son's first birthday. Top blokes. Cheers for the tips. Rich, thanks for being in the video, mate. If you look at my last video I did, by the way, guys, Rich was in it. You'll see Rich. He's my mate from Northwich. Absolutely top fella. Oh, Rich, just to let you know, mate, the builder is getting back to me on Monday, so I'll be back to you, mate. You know what I mean. Johnny H, cheers, Kirk. Enjoy the curry. Ah, yes. There we go. I was right. Hello from Russia. Yes. Spot on, mate. I've got a friend over in Russia. She's in the Donbass region, so they're having a bit of a hard time with the Ukrainians. Ukraine has been giving the Donbass region a hell of a flipping hammering for a long, long time. The news don't report it, but I've got a friend. I've got a mate whose missus, his family are from the Donbass, and yeah, doesn't get reported that. They always sort of report on how bad Russia's treated Ukraine, but they don't say how bad Ukraine has been treating the Russians in the Donbass for a long, long time. Anyway, we're not getting political. RC, better a giver than a taker. Yeah, definitely, mate, yeah. Apparently it's a bit of a pain in the ass being a taker. Tim Bell, dry dashing tomorrow. It's been a while. Just spent 20 minutes hunting for the dasher. I use the bucket trowel now, mate. I always lose the dasher. In fact, I had a dashing trowel, and my missus started using it for picking the dog shit up, so flipping, I couldn't touch it then. I have nothing to do with dog shit picking up in the garden. Not my animals. They want them. They clean up after them. She stole me dashing trowel because she said it's the best poop scoop she's ever had. So I now just use a bucket trowel for dry dash. Alex Black, hi, just wondering, lad, do you need any qualifications in the long run? I'm not saying don't get them. If you've got the opportunity now, if you're young enough and you've got the time and you can go and get your quals, go and get them. Because if you ever want to move to Australia or anything like that in the future, then you're going to need them. I didn't go down the college route because I was taught by my dad's got city and guilds, and you know I come from a family of plasterers. I was taught by plasterers, so you know I've educated myself. I'm not saying it's impossible to educate yourself with books. I've worked with loads of different plasterers. I've worked with fellas that do fibrous plastering. I've literally built out my knowledge myself. So it's not ultimately necessary. But if I had the option, would I get my qualifications? 100%. Have I got time now to go to college and go and get my qualifications? I'm too busy. I haven't got time for that. I make enough money. I don't really need them, but I would have liked to have had them. If the opportunity arose to go to Australia or whatever, go and live abroad, which it's sort of come up a few times, it'd be great to have them for that. Mark Hughes, I've used 3 different plasterers on my job on day rate as plenty of work. Why are plasterers lazy bastards on day rate and rush the job on job and knock? Nature of humans, mate. It's not plasterers, it's everybody. Nobody poor audits. Just want to say hey, and I'm off to bed. Set for a hard day's graft. Respect, mate. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Jimmy's Building Services. Good night. All good one, Kirk. Thanks for the advice. Spot on, Jimmy. Take it easy, mate. Jorix, Jim. Enjoy. My friend from Russia, you're writing to me in Russian. I can't understand it, mate. I haven't got the option to translate it, but thanks for your comments. Ronnie Barker, lol, spit me brew out on that one. Don't know which one you're on about, Ronnie, but I'm sorry about that. Danny, I'm jealous. I want one of them curries as I know how good they are. You know it, Danny. The Goer and Ellsbury Port is the best curry house in the country. Michael Dix, Night Kurt, top man. Right, last comment. That's it. I'm going. Last one. Alberto AF, you've just snuck that in. I've just seen that's coming as well. Is it best to sand the... Mike R1, thanks for the top man. No more comments. Just stop. I want to make me curry. Alberto, I'm going to answer your question. Is it best to sand the skirting boards before or after skimming the walls? The house is Victorian. There's not much top profile on the skirting board, so it will need blending in at the skirting. Right. Plaster will sand down easier than timber, so I would sand the skirting boards first, because if you're rubbing a sanding block on the top of the skirting boards, you're gonna rub into the plaster. So do that first. When you're plastering the walls, if any plaster goes on the skirting board, just wipe it off as you're going with a nice damp cloth. I'll sand the skirtings first, mate. Yeah. Right, guys. Oh, this flipping. I'm sat here, right. See what's happening. I'm sat here holding my phone because they're flipping this stupid little thing. Look at this. I need to just spend a few quid, don't I? This little piece of crap is just spinning round. It's meant to hold it still. It fell off. There we go. That's the end of that. I'll have to buy another one of them. Right, guys, I'm going. My Indian's waiting. It's been emotional. Been emotional. Thanks for joining us. Anthony. Small hand, sure, flattened out is the best dasher, especially with a larger handle. I use a 4-inch Bulldog brand. Yeah, there you go. Tell you what else works as well. A coal shovel, if you can get one of those. Good night, God bless. Been emotional. Take care. Peace out. Ciao.